Imagine moving into a charming old house full of character, yet inexplicably unsettling. This tale begins not with a scream, but with a whisper, an incessant, hissing whisper that seems to come from nowhere. You've never heard it before, but deep down, you understand what it means. You should have stayed away. Welcome, night dwellers, to the Nightside Archive. Tonight, I share a story that has haunted an old rural village for centuries. Its name, The Shadow That Slept Underneath. Jonathan was the new tenant, freshly arrived from the city, lured by the promise of solitude after a chaotic life. The house was irresistibly cheap, though oddly located, a lonely relic buried between a forest and crumbling farmlands. The locals avoided it, their faces tightening when Jonathan mentioned his new address. But he dismissed these reactions as simple superstition. From the first day, something felt off. Late at night, when the moonlight barely filtered through his broken blinds, Jonathan heard it. That sound. It came from the staircase at first, a soft creak, like wood surrendering to years of pressure, and then an unmistakable shift, as if something, or someone, was adjusting its weight underneath. He laughed it off. Old houses groan, after all. The wind was fierce in this part of town, making the wooden frame shudder. But on the third night, the sound escalated. It paced. It wasn't the random movement of old timber, but rhythmic, purposeful, full of intent. One evening, as Jonathan prepared to sleep, he noticed a peculiar chill near the stairs. The air seemed heavier there, thick like syrup, and almost suffocating. Thinking it might be a plumbing issue, he kneeled and shone a flashlight under the wooden planks. Empty, just darkness. Yet as he moved to stand up, he felt it, an icy breath, a tangible exhale curling its way around his neck. He froze. This is where most would leave. But Jonathan, he stayed. For days he avoided the stairs after dark, until courage, or was it arrogance, got the best of him. Late Monday night, armed with a lantern and a crowbar, he decided to pull apart the staircase. If something was hiding beneath, he'd find it, or so he thought. The first wooden plank shattered easily. The second revealed cobwebs and dust. But as he pried the third, the lantern flickered violently. In that brief light, he saw movement, an impossible shadow slithering like ink through water. Panicked but determined, he kept going. 5 planks later, and he found it. Or more precisely, it found him. At first glance, it was just a black void, unimaginably deep. He reached forward, his hand trembling, to touch what looked like fabric, a corner of something buried. Then his lantern dimmed completely. The room plunged into darkness. What happened next, Jonathan couldn't explain, not fully. A clawed, skeletal hand emerged, snatching his wrist with unnerving precision. Its strength was immense, freezing cold to the touch, but burning all at once. The shadow pulled, but Jonathan yanked himself free, scrambling back as far as the wall would let him. By the next morning, there was no evidence of what he'd seen. No claw marks on his wrist, no shattered staircase planks. The wood was impossibly intact, as if the disturbance had never happened. But the whispers stayed. That's when Jonathan turned to the old locals, desperate for answers. An elderly woman revealed what most wouldn't. The house carried a heavy legacy. Over a century ago, a crippled boy named Henry lived there, confined under the staircase as punishment for his deformities. His parents believed hiding him would absolve their shame. Neighbors heard his cries every night, until one day, complete silence. When villagers finally intervened, They discovered a harrowing sight. Empty stairs, but the faint outline of a shadow lingering long after, imprinted in time. Some say Henry clings to anyone foolish enough to notice him. He waits underneath in eager patience, built of centuries' worth of pain and resentment. Jonathan was warned to leave, to abandon the property before it consumed him. Yet stubborn and skeptical, he lingered. That was his fatal mistake. The final incident happened one December night. Snow coated the countryside, muting all outside noise. Inside, the whispers were deafening, punctuated by relentless pacing from that dreaded staircase. Jonathan steeled himself, deciding to confront it one last time. But as he descended, every step seemed endless, surreal, until he reached the final plank. The shadow enveloped him. In the weeks that followed, the house was discovered empty, with no sign of Jonathan, just a whisper on the wind and faint pacing near the stairs, which ceased only during daylight. Today, the house still stands, barely lived in, to those brave enough, or foolish enough, to pass by at night. They say they hear faint sobbing. No one stays long. But for those who've dared to listen closely near the staircase, one thing's for sure. You'll feel a claw-like grip pulling you closer. Might be Henry, or might be something far older, something far worse. If you've ever wandered alone in an old house and thought you felt the floor move beneath you, ask yourself this: was it the wind? Or was something down there, waiting? Be careful. Not every shadow fades when the lights come on. Thanks for joining the Nightside Archive. Until next time, sleep soundly if you can.